Hello and welcome back, people. You're listening to the Introverted Nerd Watches. I'm your host, Reese, and it's Throwback Thursday, so you know it's all about that Saved by the Bell. And in this episode, I watched Season 4, Episode 1, The Last Dance. I know we're all in mourning about the Zach and Kelly relationship, but we'll get through this. We'll get through this together because that's why I'm here to guide us through. But before we get into any of that, I want to tell you that the podcast is available on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, and wherever you get your podcast. So subscribe and leave me a 5-star review. I'll read it on the podcast and, everybody will be happy. You should follow me all over social media because that's just the right thing to do. I'm on Twitter at NerdTrovertPod. I'm on Instagram at TheIntrovertedNerd, and go on Facebook, like the Facebook page at facebook.com/TheIntrovertedNerd. And if you want to send me feedback, you can send it to TheIntrovertedNerd at gmail.com. So let's talk about this because I knew, okay, this episode is about the breakup of Zach and Kelly, the ship that sunk, okay? And I feel like they weren't even together that long, which is like really crazy because I feel most of this show, up until this point, has been Zach chasing Kelly, like chasing after Kelly, wanting to get with Kelly, fighting with Slater over Kelly, and it feels like they've had so little time together. And now it's over. And I knew. I mean, obviously I knew because I've seen this before. I didn't remember it was this episode until I saw it. Like, I didn't realize The Last Dance, like the name of the episode, was the episode where they broke up. Because there are so many dances at Bayside. I don't know that life. I don't know that Bayside, there's a dance for everything type of life. And so I didn't realize the last dance was Zach and Kelly's last dance. But I don't feel like this is their last dance that they're going to go to together. So false advertisement. But I knew, like, right from the start, when I started this episode after the credits, Zach is talking to a black kid, not named Lisa, and it's a boy. So I was like, okay, time out. Like, I burrowed Zach's time out. I was like, wait a second. I mean, it's not like this guy gets named. You don't even hear the conversations that are having, but it's like, okay, Zach is talking to somebody, a black kid that's not in his like immediate friend group. So something wild is about to happen in this episode. And we find out pretty fast that the costume dance is coming. It's just, they have a dance for everything, like a costume dance and a prom and a junior prom and I don't know, a Zach prom, because these kids go to a ton of dances. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I never went to school dances. I went to one school dance in my entire life. It was in the 4th or 5th grade. It was the Valentine's Day dance. And, we were still at that age where the girls spent the dance on one side of the gym because that's where the school dance was. And the boys spent it on the other side of the gym. And it was just, a table going back and forth, getting stuff to drink. It wasn't very memorable. Not a whole lot happened. And I walked home afterwards and it was dud. So this costume dance where there's also a king and queen of the costume dance. Do they do that for every dance? I thought that was just prom. Like, you're supposed to make people king and queen of the prom. And even then, I'm like, we can do without that, right? It's prom season right now. And I don't know. That was just on my mind. I found that out. I was listening to another podcast. They were like, "Oh, it's prom season." I was like, "Oh." And around here, I live in Philadelphia, and there are some schools around here where there are like promposals, and it's like a big fucking deal, like a real big deal. Like sort of out a little bit outside of Philadelphia, in the suburbs, some of those schools, it's like a real like kids, white kids, uh, renting renting like shit to make big big promposal type shit. And I'm like, really? People really spending that type of money on the prom? It's like, you want to do this. It's like a wedding preparation. Like, I want to do a big promposal to prepare for what I'm going to do when I propose to the woman that I'm actually going to marry. Oh, you straight people are you're so tiresome with your big displays of affection. Like, I can't stand it. Um or I mean maybe my fellow lesbians would love to have the promposal type shit. I mean, if you like that kind of thing, whatever, but that just seems that's like that sounds horrible, to be honest. That sounds horrible. It's sort of like the when they at the like sports games, sports games, like at games when people like they do the kiss cam type of thing. It's usually at basketball games, right? They don't do that in football. I don't know, but like in basketball they do the kiss cam thing. And then when people try to propose over that thing, they've done that in baseball too. So when people try to propose over the big Megatron camera thing or the video thing, I'm like, that sounds awful. And I feel like that's manipulative. I feel like you do that in front of a ton of people because you want to set it up so that the person can't say no to you. At least they can't say no to you in front of all those people, because it will be embarrassing for them. Like, if somebody proposed to me in front of a stadium full of people, I couldn't say no, because it would be like, if I say no, I would look like a dick, because it would be like, oh, look at this person proposing to you. They're putting themselves out there. So then I feel pressure to say yes. None of this has anything to do with Saved by the Bell. So let me go back into the episode. So, costume dance. How did I get all the way to to proposals in stadiums? Okay, the costume dance. So Zach and Kelly want to go as Romeo and Juliet. And I'm like, who thinks Romeo and Juliet is romantic? It's not romantic. They're two kids that commit suicide because they love each other. It's not romantic. I don't care what anybody says. It's not romantic. It is a tragedy. Oh God. Romeo and Juliet. I fucking hate that. It's not romantic at all. So Zach and Kelly want to go, or Zach wants to go as Romeo and Juliet, and Jesse and Slater want to go with Antony and Cleopatra. But Kelly, they bring it right back. Kelly ain't got no money, so she can't go to the dance. And I'm like, damn, girl, can you do anything? Your parents went on a ski vacation and you can't go to a dance. You can't go to any dance. But Kelly's like, nope, I can't go. We got all these mouths to feed. My parents are dicks, so I can't do anything, and I need to get a job. So Zach is like pissed, and he's because this time, unlike the prom, where he wouldn't. I didn't expect him to pay for a whole damn dress for her to go to the prom, but this time he's renting their outfits, or he's paying for the outfit. So he's paying for her Juliet dress and in his whole, costume. So it's only, she doesn't have to buy anything. She can just go. So I don't understand why you can't, get a job next week, like after the dance. On the Monday after the dance, you go to look for a job. But not Kelly. Kelly's responsible. So a round of applause for Kelly for being a responsible young woman, because her parents are not. They're dicks. They're terrible people, especially her dad. I will never get over. I would never, ever, ever get over the fact that her dad took back the money for her dress. I will never get over it. Never. Oh my God, that guy will never live it. I don't even think that guy comes back on the show anymore. And I will never forget that dick move of him taking that money for her dress and leaving her crying in her room, knowing that she was lying about not wanting to go to the dance. Ugh, fuck Mr. Kapowski. So Lisa, for some reason, knows that there's a job opening at the Max. I'm like, Lisa, I get you're at the Max all the time. I'm just going to give it to her. I'm going to say Lisa knows all of the gossip, so she knows that there's a job opening at the Max. But I'm like, Lisa says in this very episode that she doesn't ever plan on getting a job. So Lisa is that fucking rich that she never plans on working a day in her life. So I'm like, how do you know that there's a job opening at the Max? It's like this low class job, that a waitress job. How do you know, Lisa? Stop it. So Kelly goes to the Max, and this is when we meet Jeff. Jeff, the new manager at the Max. He's a sophomore at UCLA. So what is a sophomore? Sophomore is like, 19 years old, 19 or 20 years old? Yeah, probably 19. Jeff is not 19 years old. This dude looks 30. And what is his name? I forget his name. He's like, he's not, is it Casper Van Dien? What is this dude's name? I feel like he's famous. Like famous now, like, no, not famous now, but he's like 90s famous. He was, Patrick Muldoon. That's his name. Oh, he's in Starship Troopers. Yes. Okay. So that's who he is. So he's the new manager at the Max. Oh, and it's so funny when you see they're inside the Max when we go to Kelly having her little interview for the job. The help wanted sign is hanging inside the Max. So it's on the door inside the Max. So when you walk in, I'm like, isn't that supposed to be like hanging in the window or be outside the door so that when people are coming in, they know that there's a job opening? No, it's inside the door. So like when you're sitting in a booth, you can look at the door and like, oh, there's a job opening. It just was so stupid to me. The help wanted sign was hanging like right on the door, but not facing outside. So Kelly is a bad interview. She's like really perky, but a little too like overly perky, like aggressively perky. And she doesn't have any experience. And Jeff is like, I need to hire somebody with some experience because you kids spend all goddamn day here. It's a bunch of teenagers. I need somebody that knows their shit. And Kelly's like, no, I come from a large family, and I have 20 brothers and sisters. I do, what did she say? I do the dishes. I set the table and do the dishes 3 times a week. I know how to do this. And so Jeff hires her, and he kind of, he's flirting at this point. Kelly is 16 years old. Jeff is a grown-ass man. He is 19 or 20. He looks 30. And he's too old for her. He's in college. I'm like, and it's like, why are you flirting with this little girl? Kelly's not a little girl, and I get it. She's pretty. But no, this is so wrong. I don't think Jeff sucks from minute one. Well, actually not. He's okay. I'm going to be fair. I don't like to do that. You know it. But I'm going to be fair and say he's not that bad at first. I mean, he's putting up with Kelly's shit. Like he tells her that he's he goes to UCLA and she does a Bruins chair. She goes like, and that's Bruins, right? Whatever. She does a UCLA chair and he doesn't like kick her out right there. So I'm like, okay. So he hires her as like a probationary, like a probation hire. Like he gives her a chance. He's going to give her a few days, and so that's what happens. And so when she gets hired, Zach and Screech come in, and Screech is being Screech, and he's Screeched like dialed up to 11 because he's ordering a bunch of dumb shit. Like, I'm like, stop. He's ordering smoothies and stuff. I'm like, no, you don't come to the Max to order smoothies. You come to order a hamburger and french fries and a soda. Stop it, Screech. So, but they're trying to do stuff to make Kelly look good. And Jeff starts flirting with her. And he's like, Kelly, people don't need to, when Kelly tells him that's what her friends are doing, he's like, they don't need to do that. You look good. You already look good. And I'm like, stop it. You don't do that. Kelly has a boyfriend, and Kelly is like eating that shit up. She's into this, like right from the top. And I mean, I guess I get it. I think when you're that age, an older guy who's supposed to be good looking. Okay. Let me just talk about Patrick Muldoon for a second. Jeff, he is not better looking than Zach. Right off the bat, right off top, he is not better looking than Zach. So that's what hurts this whole thing. I'm like, girl, you got, he's not better looking than Slater, and you didn't want Slater. So it feels like she's taking a step down to even entertain this Jeff shit. But whatever, I'm going to blame it on her being 15, and I'm going to say you do dumb shit when you're 15. You're more impressed by somebody who's a little bit older than you should be. So I'm going to give this to her. I'm going to let her. I mean, Jeff's not ugly, but he's not as good looking as Zach. So for the dance, there's the dance committee. They're all in Mr. Belding's office, and they can't pay for, and who is it? Not Kelly, Zach, Slater, Jesse, and Lisa and Screech, I believe, are all on this dance committee. And who is it? Somebody else is on. Oh, black nerd kid who has like the really deep voice, like the deep, like froggy voice. He's also on the dance committee. He's part of the music committee with Lisa. I'm like, no way, Lisa Turtle would not be in the same, like breathing the same air as this guy at the same time. Lisa's a snob. I love her. She's a snob though, and this kid's voice is weird. Is this a real voice? That's what I always wanted to know. I never knew, like, how did this kid's voice get this deep? It's not even a deep voice. It's not like Barry White kind of, or like Darth Vader, like deep voice shit. Is this froggy, like, it sounds painful, really. It sounds like it would be painful to talk like that all the time. So, I mean, it has to be his real voice, and it's just like that. Because to talk like that all the time, as just sort of a put on, I don't even know. But I want to know if this is this guy's real voice. Somebody tell me if that's this guy's real voice, or if he is just, I don't know, really good. He came up with that voice on his own. Whatever. So they ain't got no money. They can't pay for music and food. So Zach comes up with the idea to for their band, this is new information, for their band to play the dance for free so that they can and they can buy food instead. So I'm like, wait, what? When did the band get to be a thing? They were never. Lisa, Kelly, and Jesse were they did that lip sync thing, where they put on exercise gear and they did that music video, but they were not a band. Like, play instruments. Like, Zach says a band. I'm like, wait, when did this happen? They skipped over a lot of shit that we never see, but suddenly they're a band. And Mr. Belding is like, oh, well, are you any good? And I'm like, who cares if they're any good? They're free. And why would you want to if you want to go to the dance, because Zach's whole plan is for him and Kelly to go to this dance and to be the king and queen of this costume ball. So why would you offer to work? Because that's what the band does. The band is working all night. So why would you offer to work if you want to go and actually enjoy this dance with your girlfriend? So I don't know, but maybe he just wants to get the experience. I don't know. But Mr. Belding, he'll let him do it if they let him sing one song with them. But you never see him sing. I was waiting for that. I could have sworn that we saw Mr. Belding sing with the band, but he doesn't. But Kelly can't go to the dance. She tells Zach she can't go to the dance because she just got the job and she can't take the time off. And she can't do it. And Zach is like, wait, what? And she also can't she can't play in the band. She can't go to band practice or anything like that because she has to do her job too. So apparently this is a full-time job. Kelly she's living that college life right now. She's going to school full-time and she's working full-time. So Kelly can't do shit but go to school, go home, and work this job. So what happens next? So when Kelly tells him she can't go, he talks to Slater. No, he goes to talk to the rest of the group. Zach does, and he's telling them, she can't go. And Slater's suggestion is for Zach to go talk to Jeff and ask for Kelly's time off. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Slater? You don't do that. Men, boyfriends, husbands everywhere, you listen to me right now. You do not go to a woman's job, to your girlfriend's or your wife's job, to ask for time off for her. That is so overstepping the boundaries. Especially boyfriends. That is crazy shit. I'm like, what the fuck is Slater talking about? And Zach thinks this is a good idea, so it's bad. When Slater and Zach agree on something like that, it's a bad idea. So no, I was just like, what? I didn't remember this. And maybe as a teenager or as a kid watching the show, I don't think it would have even registered to me that this was like overstepping Kelly's boundaries to even do something like this. This is some Martin shit. If you ever seen that episode of Martin, what is it? I forget what the episode is called. I forget what it's called. It's not my favorite episode, but it's an episode where Gina is working a ton. And she's working a lot of overtime and she doesn't get paid for the overtime she works because she's a salaried employee. And Martin is getting mad about it. So he goes to her boss and asks for her to either get paid for overtime or for her not to have to work the overtime. And that gets her fired. So this is what should have happened this time. Kelly should have gotten fired because Zach was like, her boyfriend of like 2 days is going to her job asking for her time off. And she already told Zach that, she got mouths to feed. She can't play around with this shit. She needs this job. But Zach is like, nope, I want you to go to this dance. This is really important to me. And I'm the only one that matters, Kelly. Stop being so selfish. Um, so he goes to talk to Jeff, and Jeff, okay, I think Jeff like low key shades Zach because um he goes to Jeff and he asks Jeff if he can talk to him. They're at the max. And Jeff is like, yeah. He's like, so I'm Kelly's boyfriend and I just need to talk to you about something that's going on in her life. And Jeff is like, wow, you're Kelly's boyfriend? She never mentioned that she had a boyfriend. And that, I'm like, oh shit. Shade? Is that shade? But who is it? Zach doesn't recognize it. So I'm like, is that like Jeff being like shady? Like, I like this girl, so I'm just gonna like I'm not gonna put up with her stupid high school boyfriend, or was it just Jeff like actually telling the truth that Kelly never mentioned her boyfriend? And of course, Kelly doesn't mention her boyfriend because she forgets she has a boyfriend when she's around Jeff. But Zach, that goes over Zach's head completely. Zach is like, I don't even hear what this guy is saying. I have my whole story figured out, and Zach doesn't even. I'm like, Zach, you could have told the truth, but my dude always has a lie on hand. That is his first. That's just his go-to, like automatic lie. I'm like, Zach, you could have told the truth in this moment, but nope. Zach goes to him, and he's like, see, that's the thing. She didn't say that she had a boyfriend because she's so out of it. She has a family problem going on. Kelly, he tells Jeff that Kelly is an only child, that and her father is sick. So, and his birthday is coming up, so and she can't miss his birthday. But Kelly already told Jeff during her interview that she, had 20 brothers and sisters. And Jeff automatically calls Zach out. Like, well, he was like, that's really funny because Kelly told me that she has 100 brothers and sisters. So what the fuck is going on, Zach? And that's when Zach is like, okay, the school dance is coming up and Kelly is saying that she can't go because she's working here, but if you give her the time off, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you could have said this right up front. The fact that Jeff even sat down with you, the boyfriend of his high school employee, the fact that he even sat down with Zach is like, you can tell this guy the truth, Zach. You don't have to come up with an elaborate lie about being an only child with a sick father. And having to be there for his birthday. It's just so, I'm like, Zach, don't be so stupid. Don't try to lie like right off top. You can tell the truth sometimes. It's not that difficult. But Jeff tells Zach, like he approves the time off. And he talks to Kelly. Jeff goes to talk to Kelly and he's like, you know what, Kelly, why didn't you even tell me about this? The school dance, if you want to go, you can go. It's on a Saturday night. And it's like, yeah, if it's on a Saturday night, all the kids are going to be at the prom or at the costume ball. So, I'm guessing, do regular people go to the max? I'm guessing, not many regular people go to this like student hangout that's by Bayside High School. So if everybody's going to be at the dance on Saturday, you don't have to, like, Jeff probably doesn't need as much help. Like, Kelly, go to the goddamn dance. But she doesn't want to go to the dance because she doesn't want to be with Zach. She wants to be with Jeff. And Kelly is she just has a major crush on Jeff. She's talking to Lisa and Jesse about how sweet Jeff is. And she just has a major thing for him. And I'm like, once again, I don't get it. I'm like, Kelly, your boyfriend, your actual fucking boyfriend is better looking. And Jesse and Lisa remind her, like, girl, you got a boyfriend, right? Zach, you remember your cute boyfriend, Zach? Like, come on. But Kelly is like, she's talking to them and I'm like, you can be honest with the girls in this moment. And she's telling them like, yeah, I love Zach, but I mean, look at Jeff. Look at him. And they're looking and they're like me. He ain't that good. He ain't that hot, girl. But but so one night we go to the night one night at work when Kelly and Jeff are closing down the restaurant. And when they're cleaning up, they're sitting there talking and they're kind of flirting. And Kelly is like, when he's talking to Kelly about the dance, she I think she asked him if he's going to miss her, and he says, I always miss you when you're gone. And then they kiss. And everybody in the audience is really excited, woo-hooing, and I'm like, Kelly, cheating on your boyfriend? Now this is the first time as a kid, because I don't think I was watching 90210 like at the time. There's a ton of cheating on that show. They cheat on each other right and left. So I don't think I was watching it at this time. This is the first time like on a show that I watched as a kid where people were cheating on each other. I don't think, was I hardcore shipping Zach and Kelly? I think I was. Well, not hardcore, but I liked Zach and Kelly together. And because this is before he and Lisa were even a thing. So I was like, oh my God, Kelly, how could you cheat on Zach? How could you do this to us? How could you break my heart this way, Kelly Kapowski? Kelly Ann Kapowski. So they kiss and Kelly runs out. And so Kelly is a bad liar. She can't hide shit. So at work the next day, she's like really awkward around Jeff. She can't be alone with him. She doesn't want to talk to him. Jeff comes up to her and tries to talk to her. And, he's saying like, hey, if I made you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. I don't, we need to work this out. And Kelly's like, the problem is I kind of liked it. And that's all the cue like Jeff needs. He's into it. He's ready for that. He's ready to, what? As a college guy, why would you even want to be with a high school girl? And I'm asking that question, and it's stupid because when I was in high school, I knew dudes who were older who wanted to be with a high school girl. But Kelly doesn't even seem like the kind of girl that wants to fuck like that. So she's not, like, Kelly doesn't seem like a girl that's having sex. Like Zach and Kelly are not having sex. If he was trying to get with Jesse, I would be like, it would still be wrong, but I'd be like, okay, Jesse seems, this is like, I'm a terrible person for saying this. So I'm like, I already said Slater and Jesse are fucking already. So I'm not even, you guys already know that. We all know that. Those two are getting it on. Zach and Kelly, not so much. And I don't think Kelly is about to put out for Jeff. So he's wasting his time. But whatever, if that's what you, like, it's gross. Stop it. You're in college. She's in high school. Stop. You guys can't do any of the same shit. She has a curfew. She has to be in the house at like 9:00 at night. You're out all night binge drinking. Like, stop it, Jeff. What are you doing? There are a ton of girls who are your age in college that you can be doing this with. Why are you fucking with Kelly? Stop. I'm sorry. Let's get back to it. And so Kelly is she's not only, she's awkward with everybody. She's, the whole gang comes to, I don't know, sit around and have her wait on them. And I guess they're going to tip her. So maybe it's a good thing that they're there. But Kelly, Zach stops her and tells her to take a break with them. And it's like, is that allowed? Can you just go, like, could I go to my friend's restaurant where she's waiting and be like, hey girl, have a seat. Come sit down with us. We're going to take your break here with us while, during your work days, take a break here with us. Like, no. it's so like Zach just he doesn't know boundaries. Zach just does not know boundaries in this episode. I mean, he doesn't know boundaries any other time, but in this episode, it's like really on display. So Kelly sits down and um she's taking her break with her friends, but she's really quiet and jumpy. Jeff comes over to wait on them and Zach tries to put his arm around Kelly, but she pushes him away. Like Kelly, like once she kissed Jeff, it was over. It was completely over. There was nothing Zach could do, but she is like, she doesn't want Zach touching her. Like she gets up and runs away, and everybody, like Lisa and Jesse, or maybe mostly Jesse, but I think Lisa and Jesse pick up on it. Like, oh, something happened. Something went down, and Kelly better spill that tea later on. So, when there's a band practice, Zach talks to his friends again. He talks to Slater and what's his name? Screech. The absolute wrong people to be talking to when there's real shit going on. But he talks to them, and he's asking them because Kelly is so obvious that even Zach picks up on her like awkwardness and her like the way she's treated. Like when she pushed his arm away, Zach looked at her like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on, Kelly? Like I thought we were cool. Like what's going? And oh, poor Zach. Actually, I mean, I kind of feel bad for him, like a teensy tiny little bit. But not real, not a lot, but you know, Zach is going to have some problems for the next few episodes. So when he's talking to Slater, well, he's basically talking to Slater. Screech is in the room, but he's talking to Slater. And he's asking Slater if he ever noticed like something wrong going on with Kelly. And Slater's like, no. And Zach is wondering, like rightly, is Kelly like, maybe she's into somebody else? And Slater's like, wait, what? No way Kelly could be into somebody else. He's like, she passed over me for you. And look at us. We're the best looking guys around. He doesn't say this, but this is basically what he's saying. Like, Kelly passed me, Slater, up for you, Zach. So there could be nobody else. Not in this school. Unfortunately, they didn't look at the college over to UCLA, but he's like, no, not around here. And then he says, you know, the only thing Kelly does is go to school and go to work. There's no way she can meet somebody else. And who is it? Is it Screech? Maybe is it Screech or Slater that says, well, maybe Jeff. But then they sort of like shake that off. They're like, nah, she wouldn't be interested in Jeff. So here comes the dance where it all goes down. And the band is playing. I don't even know what they're called. They don't have a name at this point. I know later, I'm not going to get into it. We're going to stick with this. So they don't have a name, but what I noticed is Lisa and Screech cannot fake play instruments. Slater, I think, really plays the drums. Jessie sings and she plays the tambourine, so you don't have to have talent to play the tambourine. You just have to have some rhythm. Zach plays the guitar, but I couldn't really see his fingers, so I couldn't really tell whether he was like fake playing good or fake playing bad. But I do know that like when he's on the upper part of the guitar, like on the like the handle of the guitar, like he's moving his hands up there too. See, that's the key. If the person is not moving their hands on the handle of the guitar, the neck of the guitar, that's how you know that they're bad at fake playing, because they don't know when they should be moving both of their hands. But Zach was moving both of his hands, so I think he was like pretty good. I don't know how to play the guitar, but I do recognize, like, especially I used to play the violin. So when people fake play the violin or the bass, because I played the bass too, when people fake play those kind of instruments, I can automatically tell because they move the bow like all up and down they never know how to keep their bow in the right spot. So I always recognize when people aren't like fake playing the violin well. But Lisa was just basically slapping the guitar. She was like a toddler who had a fake I believe Lisa had a bass. So she was not good at fake playing the bass. She was hitting it like a toddler would hit like their little toy guitars. It was so bad. I was like, girl, Lisa, oh my God. They had it was so funny because this is all I could focus on once I saw it. I was like, what is she doing? She just slapping the front of the her bass like no, this is not a bongo, girl. You got to move your finger on the strings to fake play. You're fake playing. Stop it, Lisa. And Screech is just banging on the guitar keys. He's not moving his fingers at all. He's doing the toddler thing too, just banging on the keys. So those two suck at fake playing their instruments. But Slater's pretty good because he really plays. I think he really plays. At least he looks like he really plays. I believe he's really playing. I'm not, I don't know shit about the drums, but he looks like he's really playing the drums. Slater, low-key, Mario Lopez, the most talented person on this show. The dude dances. He's like a bodybuilder. He plays the drums. He sings in this episode too. So, he had like all the talent. Poor Mario Lopez. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves. So once they end the song that they're, I don't know. Is this a real song or is this just because I know they sing a real song in this episode, but it's a bad voices too. These sounded like such horrible. They didn't sound like who these people are at all. Like Jesse gets this like big like fakey. It's so bad. It's so bad. So when they end the song, Zach introduces the entire goddamn band. It's like, oh my God, dude, all of you guys. First of all, you're the most popular kids in school, minus Kelly, because Kelly's not in the band right now. You're the most popular kids in school, and you're playing at your school with all the people that already know who you are. So why are you introducing everybody like this is? Because they do. He introduces them. It's like a minute. It's a cool minute of this episode where he's introducing everybody and he introduces them and they sort of they play their instrument to, a little flourish of their instrument. And it's like, my guy, you didn't need to introduce anybody. You're Zach. They know who everybody else is. Stop it. So the dance is like over, I guess. Were they playing the whole time? Kelly is there. She's being awkward once again, they finish their song and Zach walks over to her and he's like, hey, Kelly, has she just been standing there like watching them play the whole time, the whole 2 hours of this dance? But Kelly's like, hi, Zach. And, she doesn't, he's talking to her and she's not hearing them. She's like really distracted. And so Mr. Belding goes up to announce who the king and queen of the costumes are. And of course, Zach and Kelly win. And when they're taken up and they're being crowned and they're having their, their capes put on or something, whatever they're called. What are those robes that kings and queens wear? I guess it's a robe, right? I don't know, a capey robe. So Zach tells Kelly, she's the most beautiful girl there. And she says, thanks, Jeff. Oh my God, Kelly, you kiss another guy. You've been really awkward the last few days. And then you call your boyfriend by your new boyfriend's name. No, girl. Oh my God. And Zach is like, Zach is actually really mature. I'm going to give Zach credit right now because Zach is pretty mature And he's like, Kelly, we need to talk. We need to talk. And then they go outside and it ends where it started, because it ends, he takes her to where they spent the last dance that they had, the prom. They go outside to their picnic table that's still out there. And Zach asks her, like, hey girl, what's going on? And Kelly's like, Kelly, who is her? Tiffany Thiessen tries to cry, doesn't do it, scrunches up her face a lot, and has the crying voice, but I didn't see any tears, so don't believe her, Zach. But she's like, I don't know what happened, Zach. It just, it's I'm just so in love with Jeff. Or she doesn't say she's in love with Jeff, but that's the general idea. And she's like, she says, I thought we'd always be together. I could not stop laughing when she said that. I thought we'd always be together. And can we still be friends? It's like, what, Kelly? What? Like, you breaking up with him. You called him by another dude's name at a dance that you were at with your boyfriend. Like, you were at this dance together, you call him by another dude's name, and then you break up with him, and you want to know if you can still be friends? Like, I would have been, if that was Zach, I would have been like, Zach was more mature than me, because I would have been like, no, fuck this. I'm leaving, deuces. I would have just threw up the deuces at Kelly, and I just would have left. Like, no, you don't call me by somebody else's name, break up with me, and then ask if we can still be friends. But Zach, look at Zach, being mature. Like, he's like, yeah, he's like, we can be friends forever. We'll be friends forever. And he asks her for one last dance. And they dance, and Kelly tries to cry. She tries to squeeze out a tear. And it's over. And we get a to be continued. Like, out of nowhere, to be continued. Like, what do you need to be continued? Like, this is not a cliffhanger ending that needs to be continued. It's like they broke up. It seems pretty clear to me. I don't need a continuation. I get that they broke up. Zach seems pretty clear they broke up. Kelly knows she broke up with him because she's got another boyfriend waiting in the wings. So, I don't know what the to be continued is about, but we'll see in the next episode, because we're going to continue with this. So what happened is, I read all about it, is the way these episodes aired. They aired this episode, and then they aired the Malibu Sands episode. So it would be like a regular episode and then a Malibu Sands episode, and then you would get the continuation of this story. And they do that until the Malibu Sands episodes are over, I guess. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue with this story. I don't know exactly when I'm going to continue with this, because there's a definite endpoint to where when this whole breakup story thing is over. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the Malibu Sands episodes, and then I'm going to go on to the rest of the season. So the next episode of this rewatch is going to be episode 3, not episode 2, episode 3. So if you're watching along, I have to go to Hulu right now to check exactly which episode it is. It's going to be season 4. It's 26 episodes in the season. So season 4, episode 3, The Aftermath. So that is what we're doing. We're going to skip episode 2 for right now, and we're going to go to episode 3. So next week for the Saved by the Bell rewatch, it's going to be season 4, episode 3, The Aftermath. And then, we'll keep going. I'll tell you when there's going to be when there's a definite, when we get to the Malibu Sands episodes, because I'm going to do them all together. So that is it, you guys. We got the breakup. I feel like Kelly and Zach were not together that long. They barely got together. Ugh. When I was a kid, it was like, oh my God, Zach and Kelly broke up. What the fuck is going on with life? How could this happen? How could this happen? I was like, I was straight up Florida Evans, like, damn. Like, Kelly, Jeff, like, fuck Jeff. I hated Jeff. I still hate Jeff because he's a creepy guy that's dating a creepy college guy that's dating a high school girl. But I hated Jeff back then. I didn't have that problem back then. I didn't want I wanted Kelly to get over Jeff so bad, and it was just, I was so mad at Jeff, so mad at Kelly, just Anyway, that's it, you guys. So remember to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and I'll read it I'll read it like on an episode. My next episode after this one is going to be on Fear the Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead season 4, episode 4. So we're a quarter way through that season of Fear the Walking Dead. And if you're watching along on Fear the Walking Dead, I live tweet that show every Sunday night. So you should follow me on Twitter at NerdTrovertPod and use the hashtag NerdyWatch, and I'll know who you are, and we can like talk to each other while Fear the Walking Dead is going on. We can all make fun of that show together. Actually, we don't have to make fun of that show because it's been pretty good this season. So you should watch it because I like it better than The Walking Dead right now. I mean, I don't like any of the characters more than I like some of the characters in The Walking Dead, but as a show, as a whole, I think Fear the Walking Dead is like just like a lot better than The Walking Dead right now. But anyway, so follow me on Twitter at NerdTrovertPod. You can follow me personally on my personal account at TheIntrovertedNerd. You can follow me on Instagram at TheIntrovertedNerd, and on Facebook, like the Facebook page at facebook.com/TheIntrovertedNerd. And if you want to send me feedback about Fear the Walking Dead, or maybe Saved by the Bell, but specifically Fear the Walking Dead, because there's a lot of stuff going on in that show that's like crazy. So if you have any theories, any ideas about where Madison is, like what is Althea's deal, where is Naomi? Is Naomi with Madison? Like all that stuff. You can email me at TheIntrovertedNerd@gmail.com, and we'll talk all about that stuff. So until Tuesday, everybody. Later.